The Haunting of St. Agnes Hospital. Part 1. The Arrival. The rain fell relentlessly, as if the heavens themselves wept for the tragedies that unfolded at St. Agnes Hospital. Nestled on the outskirts of a desolate town, the looming structure resembled a decrepit castle rather than a place of healing. It had been abandoned for decades, but the stories of its horrifying past persisted in the whispered tales of the locals. Lucas, a young journalist with a penchant for uncovering the macabre, was determined to unravel the truth behind St. Agnes Hospital. He had heard the chilling stories of the place for years, but he needed to experience it firsthand. With his camera, tape recorder, and a flashlight, he embarked on this chilling adventure. As Lucas approached the eerie building, he felt the temperature drop, and an ominous sense of dread settled over him. The front doors creaked open with an eerie groan, as though beckoning him to enter. Hesitantly, he crossed the threshold and found himself in the hospital's dimly lit reception area. Part 2. Echoes of the past. The hospital's interior was a shadowy labyrinth of abandoned wards, broken equipment, and forgotten memories. Lucas couldn't help but think that the place reeked of suffering and despair. As he made his way through the corridors, he heard faint whispers and the distant echoes of agonizing screams. The past seemed to linger in every corner. Lucas's camera captured the decrepit state of the hospital, but he knew that something far more sinister resided within. The dark, narrow hallways played tricks on his mind, distorting his sense of direction. Time itself seemed to warp, and he found himself inexplicably drawn to the lower levels of the hospital. The basement was a realm of pure darkness, and Lucas's flashlight flickered as though the malevolent spirits that dwelled within were toying with him. In the dim light, he saw a flickering neon sign that read morgue. Hesitantly, he descended further into the abyss. Part 3. Unearthly encounters. The morgue's heavy steel door swung open with an eerie screech, revealing a room illuminated by a ghostly, bluish light. The cold air hung heavy with the stench of death, and old autopsy tables were still adorned with rusty instruments. Lucas shuddered as he began to record his findings, but the moment he touched the first cold, metal table, a shiver raced down his spine. From the dim corners of the room, faint whispers grew louder, as if voices from beyond the grave were begging to be heard. In a panic, Lucas clicked on his tape recorder, and a haunting voice murmured, "We never left, Lucas." It sent chills through his soul. Turning to flee, Lucas stumbled over a pile of dusty files. He picked one up and realized it was a patient record. The name on the file was his own. He couldn't believe his eyes. His heart pounded in his chest as he scanned the document, which detailed his admission to St. Agnes Hospital decades ago. It mentioned an experimental treatment that went horribly wrong. Part 4. The Doctor's Legacy. Lucas now understood that he was not merely a visitor to St. Agnes Hospital. He was inexorably connected to its dark history. He pressed on, desperate to uncover the secrets that lay within. The further he ventured into the hospital, the more he was haunted by visions of a sinister doctor who had once conducted inhumane experiments on the patients. The doctor, a tall and gaunt figure, cloaked in blood-stained surgical scrubs, seemed to lurk in the shadows, beckoning Lucas to join him in the nightmarish theatre of despair. Rooms that should have been empty were filled with the spectral forms of patients, their eyes hollow and their voices wailing in torment. As Lucas delved deeper, he stumbled upon the doctor's office, a place where nightmarish operations had been meticulously planned. His camera captured the walls adorned with photographs of the doctor's sinister experiments. The faces of the tortured subjects still bore expressions of agony. Part 5. The Final Revelation. Lucas's investigation had uncovered the horrifying truth behind the hospital's grim history. Decades ago, Dr. Hawthorne, the malevolent physician, had conducted cruel experiments on patients in the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. He had believed that by manipulating the essence of life and death, he could gain control over the spirits of the deceased. In the depths of the hospital, Lucas found a hidden chamber concealed behind a steel door. Inside, the doctor's journals contained the twisted theories and notes of his monstrous experiments. It was there that Lucas discovered the source of the hospital's sinister haunting. Dr. Hawthorne had successfully bridged the realm between the living and the dead. As Lucas read the notes, he realized that the doctor's obsession with the supernatural had led him to create a portal to the other side, a portal that allowed malevolent spirits to torment the living. He knew that he had to find a way to close the portal and end the haunting, for his very presence in the hospital was an affront to the spirits who had been wronged by Dr. Hawthorne. Part 6. Confronting the haunting, Lucas returned to the morgue, determined to find a way to close the portal. The malevolent spirits, angered by his intrusion, began to manifest with greater intensity. Their shadowy forms surrounded him, their ghastly faces twisted in anguish. The air grew icy, and the whispers of the tormented souls filled his ears. With a trembling hand, Lucas retrieved a dusty, leather-bound book from the morgue's shelves. It was the doctor's diary, detailing the ritual he had used to open the portal. Lucas read the incantations aloud in an attempt to reverse the process, hoping to send the vengeful spirits back to the other side. As he chanted the words, the room trembled, and the walls seemed to weep. The spirits grew more furious, their wails and screams reaching a deafening crescendo. Lucas felt an otherworldly force pulling at his soul, threatening to drag him into the abyss. With a final, desperate incantation, a blinding light erupted from the center of the room. The portal began to close, and the malevolent spirits were dragged back to the other side. Lucas could hear their agonized cries fading as they were banished from the mortal realm. Part 7. The hospital's fate. The portal sealed, and the hospital fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere that had clung to the building for decades began to dissipate. Lucas had broken the cycle of torment, but at a great cost. He could feel the spirits of the deceased finding peace, and he knew that he had played a role in their salvation. As Lucas left the hospital, the rain had stopped, and the sun's feeble rays broke through the clouds. The building that had once been a place of unspeakable horrors now stood as a solemn, abandoned relic. The chilling stories and the echoes of suffering would no longer haunt the town. Lucas's investigation had come to an end, and he knew he had uncovered a truth that was better left in the past. The horror of St. Agnes Hospital was a chapter of history that would forever remain etched in. The darkest annals of the town's memory, with the portal sealed and the malevolent spirits banished, Lucas had fulfilled his quest to unravel the hospital's chilling mysteries. Yet, he carried the weight of the past with him, knowing he was forever connected to the tormented souls he had encountered. As he walked away from the hospital, Lucas could still hear faint whispers on the wind, voices of gratitude and forgiveness. The rain-washed streets seemed somehow lighter, as if the town itself had been cleansed. St. Agnes Hospital had surrendered its sinister secrets, and the haunting had finally come to an end, leaving Lucas with a chilling tale of horror to tell, but also a newfound sense of peace. Part 8. Return to the mundane. Lucas couldn't escape the haunting memories of St. Agnes Hospital, no matter how hard he tried. The chilling tale he had uncovered had left its mark on him, both mentally and emotionally. His nights were filled with restless dreams, and he often awoke drenched in sweat, reliving the horrors he had experienced within the hospital's forsaken halls. Weeks turned into months, and Lucas continued to dig deeper into the history of the town. He found that the hospital's malevolent reputation had cast a shadow over the entire community. Local residents spoke of the hospital in hushed tones, as if even uttering its name would bring misfortune. Lucas also discovered that a few brave souls had attempted to investigate the hospital in the past, driven by curiosity or the desire to expose the truth. However, their stories were always shrouded in tragedy and mystery, and they never returned to tell their tales. Part 9. A visitor in the night. One moonless night, as Lucas sat at his cluttered desk, Poring over old newspaper clippings and medical records from the hospital, a shadowy figure appeared at his window. Startled, he looked up to see a spectral face peering into his room. It was a face he recognized but couldn't believe. Doc Hawthorne, the malevolent doctor who had tormented the patients, gazed at him with hollow eyes. Lucas gasped and stumbled backward, knocking over a stack of papers. As he regained his composure and approached the window, Dr. Hawthorne's ghostly visage slowly faded away. Had he truly seen the doctor's apparition, or was it a trick of his overactive imagination? The following days were consumed by fear and anxiety as Lucas became increasingly convinced that he was not alone in his apartment. Unexplained noises echoed through the rooms, and chilling whispers seemed to dance on the edge of his hearing. Shadows moved, and Lucas saw fleeting glimpses of tortured souls in his peripheral vision. Part 10. An unsettling realization. Lucas was certain that the spirits of the hospital had followed him home, their thirst for vengeance extending beyond the confines of the abandoned building. He began to question the consequences of meddling with forces beyond his understanding, and he knew he needed to confront the haunting once and for all. With a mixture of dread and determination, Lucas returned to St. Agnes Hospital. It was a place he had hoped to leave behind, but it now held the only answers to his torment. As he crossed the threshold into the hospital, the familiar sensation of dread washed over him. He could hear the mournful cries of the spirits echoing through the corridors. The hospital was darker than he remembered, as if the very walls absorbed the pain and suffering that had occurred within. Armed with his camera, a flashlight, and the doctor's journal, Lucas set out to find a way to release the spirits that had become trapped in his world.